bring in our distinguished experts. We have Mike Sommers, President and CEO of the American Petroleum Institute, Michael Faulkner, Chief Economist at AFPI and former Assistant Treasury Secretary, and our very own Jackie DeAngelis, co-host of the Big Money Show. Jackie, I'm going to begin with you on the stock market. Higher for longer. I just think that's a key story here.
So the market's finally getting it, right? Larry, you come on our show, we come on this show, we talk about all the data that we've gotten so far. There's no reason for this market to think it's going to get rate cuts this year, yet it's been very exuberant and very excited about it. So you've got David Solomon saying no rate cuts now. Finally, the market is listening. But still, some pretty difficult comments coming from Jamie Dimon this morning also saying,
what'd Jamie say?
He said that it's possible we could see that hard landing after all, and that Jerome Powell didn't get this right. And a worst case scenario is going to be one where we're stuck in a state of stagflation. We've discussed it with you. But why I think today's action is really important is because it separates AI out from what the rest of the market is doing. And so AI is going to continue to move forward. We're in the very early innings of this, but other industries are having trouble. The industries that have to use the NVIDIA chips aren't necessarily making, profits just yet in that AI technology. And so when you look at the rest of the sectors and what we're hearing in retail and from the consumer right now, it's not a rosy picture. And why I say that's a positive sign is it's a wake-up call for investors who think that market keeps going up, 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 everything's great. There is a very big disconnect between the AI boom and the policies from this administration that are impacting the rest of the economy.
Well, I think this sell-off started yesterday down 200 toward the close. After the Fed minutes came out, I don't want to be minutia in the minutes, but the fact is they basically said higher for longer. That was the watchword. Faulkner, I want to go to you on this because I have a list. You're going to understand this in a minute. Hang on a second, Mike Sommers, oil man that you are. Remember your point a year or two back. Why is oil prices and petroleum prices so important?
Because
you better remember this.
I do. Because they permeate every part of the economy.
There you go. Okay. And I have a little list. Now, I'm not going to read the whole. There's about 250 things in it. But just some of the things. This is why $80 a barrel being twice $40 a barrel is very inflationary. And we're like living with $80 a barrel, and we wonder why we can't drill, baby, drill, and have about 40. Just a few. Antifreeze, antihistamines, antiseptics, ballpoint pens, bandages, cell phones, clothes, computer keyboards, computer monitors, iPads, iPhones, laptops, deodorant, eyeglasses, shampoo, shaving cream, shoe polish, solar panels, Mr. Biden, tennis rackets, and toothpaste. And that's just a fraction. Petroleum derivatives affect the whole economy. You knock down petroleum and you limit the price and production, rather, and keep the price high, then what? You're going to have continuing, ongoing inflation. There, I said it. You got a thought on that, Mr. Well, API? What is it? You're the head of what?
The American Petroleum Institute.
Just want to remind people.
Great to be with you, Larry. You're
nice
exactly right. One of the big reasons why we're dealing with these inflationary pressures is because of high energy costs. Well, and the administration just doesn't get it. They're right now trying to put forward a new investigation on the oil industry when, in fact, it is their policies that are putting a giant wet blanket on the American oil and gas industry.
Trump dared to meet with oil and gas executives, causing the Washington Post to go all hysterical and have to apply for long-term mental health care. Is there something wrong with a presidential candidate meeting with major industry? I mean, Joe Biden doesn't meet with any climate change people, does he? Does he meet with solar people? Does he meet with wind turbine people? I don't know who he meets with. Does he stand on his own 2 feet? I mean, was it a bad thing that Trump met with the oil and gas people?
Well, what I want to say today is that it is high time for the President of the United States to come and meet with the American oil and gas industry.
You mean this current Biden president? You mean he hasn't met with them?
We had the opportunity to meet with President Trump just a couple of weeks ago, where we outlined our agenda. He outlined his. There's no crime in doing that. We want to meet with President Biden very soon to talk about the policies that he's pursuing today that are undermining American oil and gas. What they're doing now is they continue to release more oil, more gasoline from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve at a time when we're going to see more driving because of the Memorial Day holiday. In fact, we estimate that about 400,000 more barrels a day are going to be used because of the summer driving season. We need more production of oil and gas and gasoline in the United States if we're going to ease the pressure on American consumers.
All right, I'll go back to your list, but I want to go beyond your list. One reason it's very nearly impossible to tame inflation is government spending. All right, I don't want to let that go. We talked about it a little last night. The Fed is pushing down on the brake, but the fiscal side, the Biden spending side, has got the foot on the accelerator to the floor. They would love to spend $1.6 trillion that has been obligated by Congress, but not yet spent. Now, to spend that in 6 months is not an easy thing to do, but they'd love to do it. And the point I'm making is, unless the spending stops or slows, the inflation won't either.
That's right, because almost all of it is going to be deficit financed. And so what you've got going on is that you've got way too much stimulus going into the economy. At the same time, we don't have the domestic capacity in order to serve those needs. And bringing it back to AI, just let's remember, AI is probably one of the most energy-intensive industries that there is. And so how is it that we're going to realize this AI boom? How is it that we're going to stay ahead technologically of the Chinese while we're at the same time curtailing our ability to serve our own energy needs? So we've got to get the spending down, we've got to deregulate, but we have also got to be consistent that if the source of growth, if the source of economic power is going to come from technological advancements, we have got to grow our capacity to provide energy domestically.
You know, Jackie, apropos of nothing, I had Senator Rubio on, and he agreed on the need for deregulation and lower tax rates. He was not, and that was pleasantly surprised. We did a little economic white paper right there on the set in an 8-minute interview. But I think the economy yearns for that. I think the whole economy, and that includes, what is drill, baby, drill? Fundamentally, it's a deregulation of fossil fuel restrictions and permitting and all the rest of that stuff. How much difference would that make?
I think it would make a massive difference. So if you bring down one of the largest input costs, which is energy, that's going to impact how businesses run, how efficiently, and possibly maybe they can bring their prices down. It's also going to be good for the consumer. When we talk about taxes, when consumers are paying more for stuff, that's an extra tax on them. When you talk about President Biden wanting to let the Trump tax cuts expire, they're going to have to find more money to pay the government the taxes that they owe. And so ultimately, you can't squeeze blood out of an onion. I think people are kind of squeezed enough. I talk to people every day who say, my kids have 2 jobs or 3 jobs, and they still can't make ends meet. They're exhausted, and they're killing themselves. And so that's where this disconnect comes in. And there's a new survey out that says most Americans actually feel like we are in a recession, because that's how it feels when they go to the grocery store. Last point on taxes, the corporate tax rate. If you want to raise that, you're going to end up having corporations lay more people off, right? Because they're going to have to make the bottom line.
You're going to kill wages.
Somehow.
You're going to kill wages.
So,
this $400,000, it's a red herring. It has nothing to do with anything. We learned when Trump cut the corporate tax rate, wages went up a lot.
Right.
$6,000, I think, and more than the entire Obama-Biden administration, if I'm not mistaken. Last word, Faulkner.
Yeah, let's remember that it's not just the shareholders that pay corporate taxes. It is the workers and it is the customers, because a lot of it gets passed on either in the form of price increases or lower wages. And so that is not the way to generate growth and improve a lot of the American people.
Drill, baby, drill. Drill, baby, drill. Cut taxes and deregulate. Mike Sommers, thank you. Michael Faulkner, Jackie DeAngelis, we appreciate it.